We're now in the final stretch of the season, or the run-in if you like, and this is where all hands need to be on deck for every team. Every club has their individual goal for the rest of the season, and some of them are now being handed huge boosts in their ambitions with news of return of vital players. Who are these players we are talking about? That's what we're here to find out. These are 10 players whose return from injury is a massive boost. The Swedish striker broke his leg last year, and that has sidelined him for a good portion of the season. In his absence, Liverpool have not been at their absolute best. Yes, Ekitike has been holding the fort at centre forward, but sometimes you need to be able to give him some rest or just go for something different depending on the opponent or game state, but Isak's absence has made that nearly impossible. Well, he's already back in training and he returned to the matchday squad ahead of the FA Cup quarter-final clash against Manchester City. His return is definitely a massive boost for Liverpool as they look to end the season with at least a piece of silverware and Champions League qualification. And his return to the pitch is also great news for Sweden. Having qualified for the World Cup for the first time since 2018, they'll be hoping to go as far as possible this time around, and for that, they'll definitely need all their stars firing. If Isak returns to full fitness in the final stretch of the season, that's definitely a huge boost for Sweden ahead of the World Cup. Speaking of Swedish players, Dejan Kulusevski is another guy whose return from injury will be a massive boost for the country. He was live at the stadium to watch Sweden clinch a place at this year's World Cup, and he'll surely be looking to play a huge part at the tournament. He was seen limping at the stadium that day, but he came out to quell the fears, saying that he never felt better and he has a positive feeling about the World Cup. Kulusevski picked up a knee injury in May last year, which has kept him out till date. From the look of things, he might not be able to help Spurs in their fight for survival, but he might still be able to help Sweden at the World Cup. But one guy who can still help Spurs this season is Mohammed Kudus. He started the season really well and was looking like he could be one of the signings of the season, but he picked up a hamstring injury in January which has kept him out since. In his absence, the Spurs have really struggled. They have plunged into a real relegation fight and have gotten themselves knocked out of every cup competition. But there is still a lot to play for this season. Spurs just cannot afford to go down to the Championship, so they'll need all hands on deck to make sure that doesn't happen. Kudus returning from injury this April is a big boost for them and also for the Ghana national team as they look to reach the knockout rounds of the World Cup for the first time in 16 years. But of course, his priority right now will be Spurs. The North London club has a new man in charge in Roberto De Zerbi, and they'll be hoping that he will be able to help Spurs avoid what could be a colossal disaster. But Newcastle have other ambitions, and Bruno Guimarães' return will be a big boost for that. Having reached the knockout stages of the Champions League for the first time this season, Newcastle will be hoping to return to playing European football again next season, but right now, they're outside the required spots in the Premier League. They're currently in 12th position, 4 points away from what could be a guaranteed spot for European football. With no other competition on their mind, all their eggs are now in the Premier League basket, and they'll be looking to finish as high up the table as possible. Those ambitions received a huge boost when their captain Bruno Guimarães put up a post on Instagram with the caption "Not long now," likely referring to his return to the pitch after having been out since February. The Brazilian could be available for Newcastle's next game against Crystal Palace, and with him on the team, they'll believe they can actually go on to secure qualification for the Europa League at the very least. And of course, he'll also be a big boost for the Brazil national team ahead of the World Cup, as their midfield seems to lack energy without him. Speaking of Brazil internationals, Éder Militão's return from injury is surely a massive boost for both club and country. The centre-back has not had it easy with injuries in recent years. He has suffered 2 ACL injuries in the last 3 years, and just 6 months after returning from the last one, he was sidelined again due to a torn muscle fibre. But each time he returns from an injury, it's always like he never left, which is why fans and teammates always look forward to him returning to the pitch. With Real Madrid making a massive push for the European double, Militão having returned to the squad for the Mallorca game is definitely music to their ears, especially now that Raul Asensio is out injured. And of course, Militão being fit is definitely great news for Brazil too. Carlo Ancelotti has already announced that he has a guaranteed spot at the World Cup. They'll certainly be excited that he's returning to the pitch 2 months before the tournament kicks off. Let's now cross over to the other side of the Clásico divide and talk about Frenkie de Jong. Barcelona have had to do without him since February due to a hamstring injury, but he is finally back to training, which is a massive boost for the Blaugranas as they aim to finish the season strong. Frenkie's absence put Barcelona in a very difficult spot, with Flick sometimes having to play Olmo deeper in midfield or having to stretch Pedri and Bernal a little too thin. The return of the Dutchman will give Barcelona better balance and control in the midfield, which will particularly be very important in the Champions League knockout games. The news of his return is a huge boost for the Catalans and also a big boost for the Netherlands ahead of the World Cup, because they really do not have a midfielder as good as him. Speaking of midfielders, Martin Ødegaard returning to the pitch this April is such great news for Arsenal, especially with Eberechi Eze now expected to be out until the end of the month. Ødegaard has not had it easy with injuries of late, having been sidelined for a combined 4 months this season alone, but he is now back, and the timing could not be better as Arsenal enter a very crucial point in the season. Without the Norwegian, Arsenal have struggled to create from the middle and have sometimes had to use Saka as a 10. You can just tell that they are really excited to finally have him back with the team. And apart from what he can give on the pitch, having your captain back from injury is also a huge psychological boost, which could hugely benefit Arsenal as well as Norway ahead of their first World Cup in 28 years. Next, let's talk about Jules Koundé. In his absence, Hansi Flick was forced to use Araujo at right back and even give a debut to the 18-year-old Xavi Espart in a Champions League knockout game. The situation has simply not been ideal, especially because Eric Garcia has also not been fit and Balde has been injured, which meant that Cancelo had to cover up at left back. Koundé coming back is really a massive boost for Barcelona ahead of the final lap of the season, because the squad was already being stretched really thin. Even though the Frenchman has had his shortcomings this season, he's definitely a huge upgrade on Araujo at right back. And you just don't want to be throwing an inexperienced teenager into the deep end without proper preparation, which is why it is important to not be too reliant on Xavi Espart. And of course, Koundé's return will also be a big boost for the France national team, as he is expected to be their starting right back at the World Cup. Now, this next guy is not expected to be at the World Cup, but his return will be a big boost for his club, and we're talking about Manuel Neuer. Even at 40, he is still one of the best shot stoppers in the world and a huge difference maker. He has been out injured since the beginning of March, but he's expected to be back this month, and that's such great news. The Bundesliga might already be wrapped up for Bayern Munich, but they're looking to complete a European treble, and a top goalkeeper like Neuer could make all the difference in this very crucial part of the season. Finally, Gavi's return from injury is a big boost for Barcelona. The Spaniard picked up an injury in August last year, which sidelined him for 7 months. He officially made his return to the pitch in March in the game against Sevilla, but he's still being eased in. He is expected to start playing more minutes in April, and with very big games on the horizon, this could not have come at a better time. You watch Barcelona play against some opponents and it becomes super clear that what they need is an aggressive ball winner in that midfield, and well, that's exactly what Gavi is. If he begins to take on more responsibility in this crucial part of the season, he could really elevate the team. Anyway, it is now time to hear from you guys. Are there more guys whose return from injury will be a massive boost for their teams? Tell us about them in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye.